Okay. Okay, sir. So we will start with the universal question. Let us be silent, observe ourselves, the higher force within us. O hidden life, vibrant in every atom. O hidden light, shining in every creature. O hidden love, embracing all in oneness. May each who feels himself as one with thee know he is also one with every other. Let us have 1 minute meditation. Thank you. I welcome you all with a good morning for this online platform of the Indian section. Welcome, Kritika, to take from me.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, all of you. I welcome you all on the last day of the conference. And I begin with a commitment to love, truth, and the eternal that has been guiding us throughout this Easter conference. When people gather, they discuss, they listen to others, and absorb beautiful explorations. There is definitely the revealing of the unknown. So, for me, the end day is actually a new beginning. The 3-day celebration of the Easter truly signifies the comeback with light, power, and peace to the world. So before I welcome our speakers, I have a request for all. For any queries or questions you have on the talks, kindly put it in the chat box to be noted, and those will be discussed in the Q&A session at 5 p.m. Thank you. So now, moving on, I would like to welcome Brother KVB Shastri for his talk on the subject, the 4 preliminary qualifications to path proper. A few words about Brother Shastri. Brother Shastri joined TS in 2009. He writes and translates articles of TS. He is a Federation Lecturer of Telugu Federation, Andhra Pradesh. He worked as a mathematics and science teacher in Maharashtra and then joined in AP Legal Metrology Department. He retired as an Assistant Controller of Legal Metrology. I request Brother Shastri to deliver his talk. Over to you, sir.
I think he has not yet joined, Kritika.
Okay, then in that case, if you may allow, I would like to welcome Brother Krishnamooorthy, if he is there.
Krishnamooorty is not.
Yeah, Krishnamooorty sir is here.
Just request him if it is possible.
Brother Krishnamooorty, if you are here and if you could deliver the talk first, then I would like to call upon you.
No, he is also not there. I am trying to call him.
Okay, till then, I can see Shinde sir. Sir, if you would like to tell us something about the events and this Easter.
Just a minute, huh? Well, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Nice. Good morning to all of you. We are celebrating Easter, where we remember the supreme deed of Christ. So Christ laid himself on the cross of matter and was made flesh. This is what we have to remember from known to unknown. So Christ laid himself on the cross of matter and was made flesh. Why did this? Because out of his sacrifice, a path to heaven might be open to all of us, open to all men. To show this path, he laid his on the cross his own matter, and matter was made awakened to the unknown. So he sacrificed his life, that great thing which the world thinks is the source of all happiness. But he rose again from the dead to be the symbol of all men's eternity. So our soul is immortal. So all men's eternity, to show this, he again rose again from the dead. And he gave a message to us: seek, you shall find. Seek, you shall find. Ask, and you shall get it. And knock the door, door will be opened. So in many cases, why it won't happen? Why we are unable to go from known to the unknown? Because we have knocked, but not all at the right door. We are knocking the wrong door. So we are asked only with the lower mind. We are asking only with our emotional forces, which is not real asking. So one must ask with an wholeheartedness, with offering. So offer yourself for his work, and you will be always answered. So each must find the proof for himself. And what theosophical teaching tells us about these great three truths which have been discussed: that soul of man is immortal, life is principle, always benefiting us, and it cannot be understood by our senses. It is beyond the knowing of from the senses. So man is his own lawgiver. So applying these three great truths, we can attain to that, from the known to the unknown, to our destiny. Then one finds peace within himself in spite of all passions and doubts. One finds strength with himself in spite of the memories of the past failures. And one finds light within himself in spite of the darkness which surrounds him. So on these days, we remember this. Was Jesus the Son of God? This question was asked to, was this Jesus Son of God? And to this, Eckhart Tolle answered, which is very much contemplative. He answered, when the question was asked, was Jesus the Son of God? And he said, yes, but so are you. You are also a son of God. You just not reached to it. The difference is, we have not yet reached from the known to the unknown. So with this introduction, we can start, I think. As you have given me opportunity, I used this day of Easter. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. sir. So I see Brother Shastri is here.
Shastri has come now.
So you are not audible.
Audible. Okay, I'm trying now. Am I audible now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So over to you, Brother Shastri.
Yes. Today's topic given to me is the 4 preliminary qualifications to path proper by proper. Is it audible now? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's audible.
We are now going to deal with the teachings which prepare a person for initiation. There are 5 steps on the path proper according to old system. In older writings, it has been spoken of probationary path, the path proper, the official period as 3 stages in the advanced development of man. The probationary path means the period of probation for initiation. The path proper is the path of holiness which begins with the first of the great initiations and ends with the attainment of adoption. The period of probation for initiation was in the early days of spoken of 4 qualifications. They are discrimination, desirelessness, good conduct, love. Discrimination has its position as the first qualification. It enables a man to decide to enter upon the path. The Buddhist name for it is Manodvara Vijnana, the opening of the doors of the mind. This means that the man's mind is open for the first time to see the spiritual things are the only real things, and the ordinary world life is a waste of time. The Hindus name it Viveka, which means discrimination. The Christian call this realization, conversion. It means turning and coming together with. As there are steps on the path, there are definite steps which mark the degree of the pupil's personal relationship to the master who prepares him for the initiations. Initiations are given by the Great White Brotherhood in the name of the one initiator who is its head and by his order above. But pupil's relationship with his master is his own affair. One may be first a probationer, or secondly an accepted pupil, or thirdly what is called a son of the master. These are private relationships and must not be confused with the initiations which are given by the great hierarchy itself. The first initiation is the step which makes a man a member of the Great White Brotherhood. Before what, he is not really on the path. Before that, he is not really on the path at all, but is training himself in preparation for it. It is not conferred arbitrarily, but in recognition of his attainment of a certain stage of evolution. What used to be called the union of higher and lower self, the joining of the ego and the personality. A man who wishes to put himself forward as a candidate for the first great initiation must acquire the qualifications described and make his personality an expression of the ego. There must be no lower personality left to thrust itself forward and to have desires of its way in opposition to those of the reincarnating self. So here I have just produced the points given because all the points given, all the words in the points given are very simple to understand. I don't think there is any further explanation for these things. Now, let me proceed further. Sorry, Please bear with me for a few minutes. It should not be imagined that there are two entities in man. There never is any lower self as a separate being, but the ego puts down a tiny fragment of himself into the personality in order to experience the vibrations of the lower planes. The personality then becomes much more vividly alive than the ego because it is at a stage where it can respond to those vibrations. Consequently, it forgets that it belongs to the ego and sets up in the business of life on its own account and tries to go as it would rather than as the ego would. In the course of many incarnations, however, the ego grows strong, and then the man can recognize that the personality is nothing but an expression of himself, the reincarnation ego, and that whenever it tries to be master instead of servant, it is going wrong and needs to be controlled. It is our business to order the personality that it shall express the ego and nothing else. That is what Mr. Sinnett called giving allegiance to the higher self. In the voice of the silence, we are told that the disciple should slay the lunar form. This refers to the astral body. It doesn't mean that you should commit an astral murder. It means that your astral body should have no existence, but as an expression of the higher, that instead of having its own passion and emotions, it shall reflect only what the ego chooses. The condition must be attained before one can be presented for the first initiation. The man must have control of his physical, astral, and mental bodies. All these must be servants of the ego. To gain the mastery would mean a very great deal of work for the ordinary person. And many people would say, I can't do that. It is no use talking about it. It is altogether too high an ideal to set before them all at once. But it ought not to be so serious a demand to make upon those who have been meditating and thinking on these matters for many years. Truly, it is not easy to tread down one by one all sorts of passions and desires to curb the astral and mental bodies. These things are hard, but they are splendidly well worth doing, and the result attained thereby is quite out of all proportion to even the great efforts required. The thought of making ourselves capable of greater usefulness to the world teacher is an additional incentive and encouragement in this arduous undertaking. Those who take these initiations do not do it for themselves in order to escape from the sorrow and the suffering of the world, but they may be of use in the mighty plan. There are certain definite changes which outweigh all others in a man's existence. The first of these is when he individualizes and enters the human kingdom, when he comes forth from the animal stage and begins his career as an ego. His attainment of adultship is at the fifth initiation is another. It marks his departure from the human kingdom because then he enters a superhuman state. That is the goal which is set before all humanity. It is the point which we are to endeavor to attain in this chain of worlds. At the end of this period of the man who has done what God has willed for mankind, who has carried out to the utmost the divine design for himself, will thus pass out of the human kingdom, and many of us may do it long before the end. In between these two comes another point of quite as great importance, the definite entry of the stream at the first great initiation. The words used in admitting the candidate to the brotherhood include the statement, "You are now safe forever. You have entered upon the stream. May you soon reach the further shore." The Christian calls him the man who is saved or safe. That means that he is quite sure to go on in this present stream of evolution, that he is certain not to drop out of the day of judgment in the next round, like a child in school who is too backward to go on with the rest of his class. The initiate has to pass the second, third, and fourth initiations before he reaches adultship, which is the fifth. But when he gains that stage, he unites the monad and the ego, just as before he had united the ego and the personality. When the man has achieved the union of the higher and the lower shell, his personality no longer exists, except as an expression of the ego. He has now to begin the process over again, as it were, and make the ego an expression of the monad. Whether beyond that there lies another stage of the same kind, we do not know. But it is at least certain that when we attain adultship, we shall find opening before us a still more glorious vista of progress. People often ask, what will be the end of the evolution, which we see outstretched before us? I personally do not know whether there is any end or not. A great philosopher once said, it is equally inconceivable that there should be an end or that there should be no end. Yet, one of these two must be true. Some speak of absorption into the Supreme, but of that we know nothing. We know that our consciousness continues to widen, that before it lies grade after grade above and beyond our own. We know that it is possible to touch Buddhic level and thus attain an enormous expansion of consciousness, so that besides being oneself, one is also other and greater people. In this way, we do not feel that we have lost individuality at all, but that we have to so widen it that we are able to feel through others as well as through ourselves. All who can do this in meditation should continue the practice and expand until more and more is included in the consciousness. Not only those far above, but those below as well. Although those above come first because they are so much stronger, so much more tremendous in their power. Such expansion takes place gradually, and one wins one's way through subplane after Buddhic consciousness until presently he learns to develop it Buddhic vehicle, a body which he can use at that stupendous height where all the spheres seem as one, and he can traverse space without actually passing through it in our sense of the world at all. Now, since that is in the experience of number of us, we are justified in assuming that further extension of that consciousness will be somewhat of the same kind. We have attained that unity without losing our sense of individuality, in the very least, without feeling ourselves merged in the shining sea, as the poets puts it, but feeling instead that the shining sea has been poured into the drop. We can look far back in evolution and can also see far forward. We can be sure of a future extending over millions of years useful activity on splendid levels whose glory and power and love, development and inconceivable down here. But what lies beyond that we do not know. If we consider that matter from a common sense point of view, we can hardly expect to know. If that final end of it were something that we could now understand, it would be a very poor kind of ending, altogether out of proportion to all these stages which lead up to. Our intellect is a narrow thing. How limited no man realizes until he comes into touch with its higher development. When he begins to see that intellect about which we have boasted so much is in reality poor affair, a beginning only, a seed of future tree. In comparison to that of the future, Men have now only a child intellect, though it is that of hopeful child, for it has done much already and shows promise of more. But compared with the intellect of the great ones, it is still that of a very little child. Therefore, it cannot yet reach great heights and depths, and we cannot expect to understand either the beginning or the end. I, at least, am more than willing to admit, quite frankly, that I do not know what goal the Supreme has in his mind. I do not know anything about the Supreme, except that he is. The metaphysician and the philosopher speculate on these things and gain from the effort considerable development of the mind and causal body. Those who love much such imaginations do no harm in indulging in them. But I think they should clearly understand that they are imagination. The philosopher should not develop his theories into a system and expect us to accept it, for he is quite likely to be leaving out of account some of the most important factors. For myself, I do not speculate. I feel that the splendor and glory of the unquestionably lie ahead of us are far more than sufficient to satisfy all our aspirations. I hath not seen, nor ear heard, neither hath it entered into the heart of man to conceive the things which God has prepared for them to love him. That is true now as it was 2000 years ago. So now let me tell you about, in brief, discrimination, the 4 paths, preliminary paths. Discrimination, desirelessness, good conduct, and love. In brief, I am going to tell, not in lengthy. Discrimination is the knowledge what is worth following and what is worth not following. Discrimination is taken as a discrimination between the real and the unreal. This enables us, man, to enter the path. It is to be practical, not only at the beginning of the path, but at every step of it, every day until the end. You enter the path because you have learned on it alone. Can be found those things which are worth gaining. Men who do not know what to gain wealth and power, but these are at most for one life only, and therefore unreal. There are greater things than these things, which are real and lasting. When you have once seen these, you desire those others no more. In all the worlds, there are only 2 kinds of people, those who know and those who do not know. And this knowledge is the thing which matters. What religion a man holds, to what race he belongs, these things are not important. Because he knows he is on God's side, standing for God, standing for goal alone and resetting evil, working for evaluation and for evolution and for not for selfishness. But the body and the man are 2, and the man's will is not always what the body wishes. When your body wishes something, it stops and think whether you really wish it. That is, sometimes we get wishes, so we have to stop thinking for a while, and then the wish I get is correct or not, whether it is the right one or not. For you are God, and you will only what God wills, but you must dig deep down into yourself to find the God within you, and listen to his voice, which is your voice. Between right and wrong, occultism knows no compromise. At whatever apparent cost, that which is right, you must do. That means once we enter the path, we have to do the right thing at any cost, leaving aside our selfishness. Ignorant may think or say, you must study deeply the hidden laws of nature. And when you know them, arrange your life according to them, using always reason and common sense. In life, we face many challenges. While we face many challenges, it is our duty to find what is right and what is wrong. At the same time, we have to use our reasoning, whether it is correct or not, and common sense also we have to use. This means clearly when once a person enters the path, he must be in a position to know what is right and what is wrong, and he has to use reasoning and common sense also. That is quite applicable even in present day life also. You must distinguish between the truth and falsehood. You must learn to be true, all through the thought and word and deed. Manasa vacha karma, we must be one. You must discriminate between the selfish and unselfish. For selfishness has many for us. And when you think you have finally killed it, if in one of them it arises in another, it's as strong as even. That is, if you may get so many wishes. If you kill one, that means if you give up one wish, it may come in the different form. Like that, different forms we may face. Yet we should not be tempted by those things, and we must be on the right line. But by degrees, you will become so full of thought for the helping of others that there will be no room, no time for any thought about yourself. So if you continue this practice for some time, what happens? You will find no time for your selfish things. You will be able to devote your time completely for the sake of the other, helping others. At the same time, for the sake of the world, you will aware many people may be benefited by your good thinking. There are many for whom qualifications of desirelessness is difficult one. For they feel that they are their desires, that their definitive desires, their likings and dislikings are taken away from them. These will be no self, there will be no self left. Here we have to remember one thing. People to develop desirelessness in us, we face many difficulties. There will be very strong temptation from our self. Yet we have to withstand that attraction and temptation from the self. Then only will we come out of this desirelessness. Thus, for all, it is simple. It needs only that you should understand. But there are some who forsake the pursuit of earthly aims only in order to gain heaven or to attain personal liberation for return. Into this error you must not fall. But some people, what they do certain things so that they may feel that they get heaven and they may get some benefits like that. If you are tempted by those things, it is very difficult to be on the path. Once you decide to be on the path, you have to be true to yourself. That is, to be strict and to be away from temptation at any cost. Then only one can be on the path. Have no desire for psychic powers. They will be with you when the master knows what it is. When it is time for you to have, you must guard too against small desires which are common in daily life. Never wish to shine or to appear clever. And very important in present day life, we find these things. And we say we are very comfortable with the luxuries provided by the amenities provided by the technological evolution. So we may be tempted comfortably. We want everywhere comfort. And that comfort makes us a bit difficult when we are losing it. So we must be in a position to bear those inconveniences also. Then only we will be able to go forward. Is there time left for me? Please.
Yes, sir, 5 minutes more.
5 minutes. Okay, I'm going to finish. Now, third qualification, which is called good conduct. It contains 6 rules. According to Hindu system, it is called Satsampatti. Satsampatti in the Pali form as given by the Lord Buddha, the qualification is called Upacharo, which means attention rather than conduct. One is to pay attention to conduct in the ways prescribed by those 6 jewels, as they are called. We shall come to the matter Kutumi's rendering of the presently as we go through this book. By the Buddha, they were given as Samo, quietude, that is control of mind. In Hinduism, it is called Sama. And Damo, subjugation, that is control of the body. That is Dhamma in Hinduism, is controlling the body. Uparati and Titiksha, Samadhana and Saddha, literally cessation, endurance, intentness, and faith. I took the trouble to have all these words. So we must have one, to control the mind under good conduct, and then control of the body, and Uparati Titiksha. Uparati is cessation, that is stopping. Endurance, that is Titiksha, that is bearing any kind of difficulty that may come from outside or from inside us. And then intentness, that is Samadhana, and Saddha, that is Saddha means we must be devoted to the things we want to attain. That is about towards our goal we must travel. And Samadhana, we have to strike a balance between all these things, thereby to enable ourselves to walk on the path in the proper way as desired by the masters. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for such a detailed talk. As we all know that when we are on a path, there are certain qualities that help us in our evolution on the path. And we all go step by step at different level of initiations on the path. So with this, we'll move on, and I would like to call upon Brother Krishnamooorty for his topic, work, but work like those who are ambitious. So Brother R. Krishnamooorty was a faculty in English at Madura College, Madurai, which was founded by Sir S. Subramanya Iyer, an eminent theosophist. Brother Krishnamooorty joined the TS as a member in 1977 and is one of the vice presidents of Tamil Theosophical Federation. During the pandemic, he has been reading J. Krishnamooorty, and now he wishes to devote his entire time to theosophy. With this, I request Brother Krishnamooorty to deliver his talk. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Sister Chairperson. Thank you very much. Please tell me whether I'm audible.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And kindly stop me when my time is over. Because
Yes, sir.
we as teachers, we tend to go on talking till the bell rings. Kindly forgive me. Now, dear brothers and sisters, cordial greetings. Vanakkam. Namaste. Good morning to all. For the second year in succession, I am giving a talk in the Easter conference through Zoom platform. Earlier also, I had given 2 or 3 talks for the Easter conference in our sacred headquarters hall. Like every one of you, I also look for the day when we can assemble at Adyar, Chennai. Before I proceed further, I thank from the bottom of my heart our National President, respected Brother Pradip Gohil, respected Brothers Mahapatra, our Treasurer Brother Narayanan, and Brother Shikhar Agnihotri for reposing their confidence in me and asking me to talk on this important national conference. I'm grateful to them and to every one of you. I'm happy to talk on this very auspicious day, Easter. Easter signifies not only resurrection of Jesus Christ, but resurrection or getting a new lease of life of every one of us. We must come to life from a deep slumber of untruth, from monumental ignorance and meaningless death. This is what resurrection is. I remember the famous verse in our Upanishads. Asatoma sadgamaya, tamasoma jyotirgamaya, mrityoma amridam gamaya, which means lead us from untruth to untruth, from darkness to light, death to immortality. I am supposed to talk on work, but work like those who are ambitious. This quotation can be found in the 4th rule in the book of Light and the Path, and I shall try my best to explain it. Light and the Path is a very small book. I hope you can see that. Its size is 2.6 inches by 4 inches, or 7 centimeters by 10.5 centimeters. It has got only 62 pages, but its depth is very great. Its influence is immense. It's one of the 3 gems of theosophy. The other 2 are Voice of the Silence and At the Feet of the Master. Light of the Path was first published in 1885, and The Voice of the Silence was published in 1889. Both were published during the lifetime of Madame Blavatsky. The book At the Feet of the Master was published first in 1910. Even though the title page of the first edition of Light of the Path gives the author's name as Mabel Collins, its real author is Master Hilarion. Master Hilarion received it from the great one who was his teacher. The medium who received these words was Collins. She was a British theosophist who lived between 9th September 1851 to 31st March 1917. She worked with Madame Blavatsky for a few years. Subtitle of the book, Light on the Path, is very revealing. It says, a treatise written for the personal use of those who are ignorant of the Eastern wisdom and who desire to enter in its influence. So, it's for Eastern, it gives a glimpse of Eastern wisdom, and it is meant for the people who want to come under the influence of the Eastern wisdom. Madame Blavatsky's comments on the book are worth reading. She says, this little book, a true jewel, belongs to and emanates from the same school of Indo-Aryan Buddhist thought and learnings as the teachings in the Secret Doctrine. You all know the Secret Doctrine was written by or recorded by Madame Blavatsky. Mabel Collins also stated the real author is Master Hilarion. She wrote on a printed copy of the book for the first edition by Sri Hilarion. The next line, work done under Sir Sri Hilarion. Light of the Path began in October 1884. Karma determined in December 27, 1884. Signed Mabel Cook. Mabel Cook is the maiden name of Mabel Collins. Now, for the first timers to the discussion on theosophy, let me clarify about the masters. Madame Blavatsky, in her book Key to Theosophy, discusses masters. We call them masters because they are our teachers, and because from them we have derived all the theosophical truths. However, inadequately, some of us may have expressed, and others understood them. They are men of great learning and still greater holiness of life. So the important parts are masters are men of great learning and still greater holiness of life. Another great writer on the theosophical matters, Clara M. Card, in her book, The Ways of the Disciples, says, the master, the adept, has developed all his vehicles of consciousness and is able to function fully in them. See, that is a very difficult thing, to function fully in consciousness. My God. Animescent, in her book, The Masters on Facts and Ideals, answers our questions. She asks, who is the Mahatma? Mahatma is another word for master. He is the man who has become perfect. He is the man who has become perfect, who has reached union with the divine, who by slow degrees has developed the possibilities of his spiritual nature and stands triumphant where we are struggling today. I dealt at length on the words on the word masters because a student of theosophy will come across it again and again. Theosophists must be very grateful to Annie Besant and C.W. Leadbeater for their commentary on the light of the path, which can be found on the 3rd volume of Occultism. I want to show the book to you. Are you able to see it? Okay. The book Light on the Path, the original book, is divided into 3 parts. The first 2 are Light on the Path. The 3rd part is a short essay on karma, which is not we are going to discuss today. The book contains in total 42 rules. I repeat, rules. That's why it's called a code. 21 rules in each part, first part, and 21 rules in second part. But original first edition had only 15 rules, each part totaling 30. Later editions contain rules 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, and 21. We are told these rules were told by the great one to Master Hilarion, who saw to it that they were added in the subsequent editions. The rules are written in aphoristic style. What is aphoristic style? That's subhashitams. For example, we all know Satyameva Jayate or Satyam Vada, Dharmam Chara. Like that, we have these rules. As I told you earlier, the aim of the book is to make the world aware of Eastern wisdom. The opening line says, these rules are written for all disciples. Next sentence is, attend you to them. So we understand that this book is for disciples who are serious and not for ordinary persons, not for layman, not for the man on the street. It is for the serious student who wants to learn. Second sentence is almost reprimand or order. Attend you to them. It takes us back to the Gurukula days, where total discipline was the order of the day. The word disciple here means not an ordinary or blind follower, but a person who wants to know what the world is about and also who is he, or Tattvam Asi, who am I? Before I proceed further, let me share that audio books of the Light and the Path are available in the YouTube. If you can spare just 40 minutes or less, you can hear the complete book. Best way is to have the book in the hand and hear the words of the book. I followed that method only. Moreover, one can listen to the talks on the Light and the Path by renowned theosophists, particularly persons like Pablo Sanders on the YouTube. I listened to Pablo Sanders twice. After opening line, we have a short preamble or introduction. It reads as follows. Before the eyes can see, they must be incapable of tears. I repeat. Before the eyes can see, they must be incapable of tears. Before the ear can hear, it must have lost its sensitiveness. I repeat. Before the ear can hear, it must have lost its sensitiveness. Before the voice can speak, the presence of the masters must have lost the power to wound. I repeat, before the voice can speak in the presence of the masters, it must have lost the power to wound. Before the soul can stand in the presence of the masters, it must be washed in the blood of the tears. Its feet must be washed in the blood of tears. This is not the intention of the masters to frighten the disciples. What he means is that the disciple must have attained equanimity and poise before the disciple can enter the sacred hall. Similarly, he should not be overwhelmed by praises and abuses And that's what the master means. Ears must have lost its sensitiveness. Likewise, the words that come out of the disciple must be free from any anger or bitterness. Finally, the disciple must get rid of ego before he can stand in the presence of the master. To understand the fourth rule, from where this quotation is taken, we have to go through the first three rules. So let us read all the four rules. Rule 1, kill out ambition. Rule 2, kill out desire of life. Rule 3, kill out desire of comfort. Rule 4, work as those work who are ambitious. Respect life as those who deserve it. Be happy as those who live for happiness. Now we know that this is not a book for ordinary people. Only those who are made of sterner stuff will venture further. But C.W. Leadbeater comes to a rescue again. He rearranges the rules in such a way, words in the rules for us. Now let's read the four rules together as per the guidance of C.W. Leadbeater. It is, kill out ambition, but work. I repeat, kill out ambition, but work as those who are ambitious. Kill out desire of life, but respect life as those who desire it. Kill out desire of comfort, but be happy as those who live for happiness. Now things are becoming clear, and we heave a sigh of relief as we are on the right track. But let us not be complacent. Kindly go back to rule 1. Kill out ambition. This rule is followed by a note dictated by the master himself. Notes can be found to almost all the rules of the book given by the master himself. He himself gives an explanation. Our question is, why we have to kill out ambition? We have to kill out ambition because it always makes you to look for reward and more reward, and contentment becomes an impossibility. So remember the words of Leo Tolstoy, who said, the world has everything for everyone's needs. I repeat, the world has everything for everyone's needs, but it does not have enough for one man's greed. Its greed is the ambition. When one works for self-advancement, it will definitely lead to frustration and disappointment. You can say, here we are not ambitious. But when you stand before our master, who will read our hearts, must find the hearts clean. Master declares, the pure artist who works for the love of his work is sometimes more firmly planted on the right road than the occultist. The same manner, we can understand the other three rules, particularly the rules 1, 2, and 3, that is, kill out desire of comfort. So always remember that these rules are steps or rungs in a ladder. The rules are steps or rungs in a ladder. When you have killed out ambition, you will drop out of the rat race of the hurried life that we lead. You can climb the other two steps once we clean our heart of all evil. You must remember that evil is a poison tree that grows in our heart. It comes with you life after life. That's Janma after Janma. This is clean. Thus, this cleaning of evil is a tough task. Only the brave hearts can do. You can ask or request somebody to clean your room or your house, but you cannot outsource the cleaning of your heart. You yourself have to get rid of the evil. Nobody else can do it. For that, you have to dip deep into your heart. Deep into your heart. Struggle hard to expunge or delete evil deciding comfortably in your heart. Good company, that's satsang, reading good books, doing social service may help you. But the effort has to be put by you strenuously. During this process, your heart will bleed, but you have to endure it silently and patiently without crying. But please remember that if you join a satsang for popularity, and do social work for name and fame, the poison tree of evil will grow in your heart with fresh vigor in a new direction. Your heart it's a constant, never-ending struggle. Once we succeed, we can live in the eternal. It is said that 4 rules refer to the trial of initiation of a disciple. We must make our inner life, we must make our inner life control and master the outer life. I repeat, we must make our inner life control and master the outer life, which is the mundane living. Now, let me clear any misunderstanding that might happen during my brief discussion. The introduction or preamble, we said, incapable of tears should not lead you to think that one should become stone-hearted. No, not at all. It means that one's heart should have attained an equilibrium which cannot be shaken by personal emotions. It does not imply any indifference. Let's recall the words of the great poet Wordsworth, who said, "To me, the meanest flower gives me thoughts too deep for tears. It's only a selfish man who has a heart of stone. It's only fools and pseudo-scholars who are indifferent, not an ardent disciple." We should not become robots. We must become man alive and whole man alive. That is, we must evolve, we must get evolved or make our souls blossom. We all know that those who break the laws of nature lose their physical health. Those who embrace the loss of inner life lose their psychic health. Likewise, when it is said, before the ear can hear, it must have lost its sensitiveness. Means the ear no longer discriminates between that which is pleasant or unpleasant, or that which is painful. It will no longer be affected by the voices of others. Let them praise or condemn. I will go on doing my due work without expecting any reward. These rules echo or recall the famous words of Lord Krishna and Bhagavad Gita, familiar to all of us. Do your work, that's karma, but do not expect reward. This detached attachment is the basic requisite to walk on the road less traveled. Friends, how to practice these rules in life? By filling your heart with love for all. We love our spouses, our children, our friends, but we shun away from the child in tatters, begging alms, or traffic signals in every city. I cannot say that you should hug that child. At least sympathize with them. When compared with them, how better placed they are. Try to help them in some way, silently, to improve their pitiable condition. When I read the 3rd rule, kill out desire of comfort, I thought about our founders, Colonel Alcott and Madam Blavatsky. This chairperson there, can you tell me how much time I have got more? Are you there?
About 10 minutes.
Oh, 10 minutes. 10 minutes only. Okay, I'll try. When I read the 3rd rule, kill out desire of comfort, my thought goes to our founders, Colonel Alcott and Madam Blavatsky. Remember, Madam Blavatsky was a princess. Everything, luxurious life, traveled alone to many countries, Egypt, USA, Afghanistan, Tibet, India, Sri Lanka, and many others. Traveling all alone or with Colonel Alcott, staying at places with minimum comfort, trying to communicate with people whose language they did not know. From country to country, they travel by ships, which are illiterate. And there were very few trains. On the land, they have to travel on the bad roads in crowded coaches. In India, they travel in bullock carts to most of the places. There was to Adayar, to come to Adayar, they have to travel by boat from the other side of the city to Adayar. They have to travel only by boats. In those days, there's no bridge. They had no ATMs, no Xerox machines, no cell phones, no, not even phones. And all motor cars was a luxury that came only in the 20s of the last century. So they carried nuggets. Nuggets are gold, lumps of gold in their body. So they can give it to the money changers and get the local currency. Many times the money changers will definitely cheat them, but they tolerated that. And printing was a very, very difficult, arduous task. Nowadays, with the advent of computers, it's not. It's a simply a matter of a few hours to print a book. Printing a pamphlet is a great task. Pens and pencils were luxury. They were imported. The modern pen came only in the early part of the 20th century. In those days, remember, they published books, newsletters, pamphlets, and all the work was done by a handful of people. Now we have computers, modern printers, mobile phones, WhatsApp, Telegram, etc., etc. But are we doing at least 1/10 of their work? Let's ask ourselves. Why we are not able to do? Because we don't want to give up any comfort. Don't have the luxury of comfort at every place, at every time. That's our tragedy. It is because they gave up the comforts and luxury. Whereas we want to have more and more comforts and more security. CCTV cameras have become the normal thing. In those days, anybody can enter Adyar. There's no compound. There's no fencing and all that. It came only later on. But they were secure. How? Because they loved ordinary people. And the ordinary people trusted them. When they know these Englishmen or the Russians or the Americans, they're full of love for us. The ordinary peasants who were at the time, fisher folk, they trusted them and they protect them. Not a criminal activity ever happened in Adyar since their arrival. It's because the surrounding people protected them. Dear brothers and sisters, let us resolve. Many people would say, how can you do all these things? Is it possible? Now we say, at least let's educate our children, grandchildren, in the lines shown by J. Krishnamooorthy and Rukmini Arundel. Dear brothers, I'll illustrate the idea of ambition from 2 poems of English. One, they are written by Lord Tennyson, who was a great poet of the 19th century, a typical poet of the Victorian era. He wrote 2 poems, Lotus Eaters and Ulysses. I'll tell you the story. It's a story about Iliad. Iliad, you know, was written by Homer or sung by Homer. It's a story of war, like our Kurukshetra, where two people fight each other. On one side, we have Ulysses and others, Achilles and all that. On the other side, Hector and others. Ulysses and his men win the war. And they win not only by their bravery, but also by the cleverness or cunningness. And Ulysses was the man with the brain behind the whole show. And they defeated the Trojans. But the gods in heavens were angry with Ulysses for using unfair practices. So we had cheated the Trojans of their legitimate victory. So we cursed. And they said, you and your men will wander for many years before reaching home. Many became sad. But brave Ulysses and his men planned their trip to their own city called Ithaca. While they were returning, they have to go through many ordeals or trials. And to one island they went. It was the land of Cyclopes, which relish, or the one-eyed giants, who relish in eating human beings. Then they went to the island of, they escape from it. And they go to the island of Sibyl, which want to enslave them. And like that they go. Then finally they come to an island of Lotus Eaters. Here, no violence, nothing. They go to land of plenty, where there were herbals. The herbs are what you call as in the modern marijuana or kanjuna or ganja or something. The drugs. They eat it in the raw form and they live in their own world. They forget everything. They're ready to go, forget their home, their land, their friends and everything and live happily there. That's called stay of contentment. They said, we will not wander anymore. We don't have any ambition. We are here. That's not it. Then Ulysses persuades them to go to their homes, take some hope. They come. The poem, Lotus Eaters, ends with the words, we will not wander. And that's how they stay there. And Ulysses takes some of them back to their home. After going back to the home, Ulysses and his men were happy for some time. Then they were become bored with their mundane living. They said, let's go back. The wanderlust seizes them. And they go again on a journey. Journey which he says, gleams that we'll travel through the untraveled world. Gleams that untraveled world whose margin fades forever and forever when I move. So Ulysses and his men decide to strive, to seek, to find, and never to yield. Such men are not ambitious, but seekers. Friends, let us not be ambitious, but become seekers of truth. Our aim is to seek truth so that justice will prevail. And before I conclude, I want to say only a few words. Dear brothers and sisters, today is Easter. Let us remember the brave life of Jesus Christ, who refused to compromise with evil. Here, let me say a few of his words. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are they which do hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. I'll repeat that. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Brothers and sisters, our aim is to make all humanity one Vasudeva Kudumbakam. All humanity one family. A time will come when we will all live with each other with goodwill, and peace will prevail on this earth. Thank you very much for your patient listening. I thank every one of you. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you so much, Brother Krishnamooorty.
I hope I have not exceeded my time.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, but you have done a great job. You didn't exceed. Thank you so much, Brother Krishnamooorty. And you talked about so many aspects of life. But personally, I liked two aspects, which were kill out the ambition, because it always makes you seek for rewards. And the second, kill out the share of comfort. Thank you so much, Brother Krishnamooorty, once again. So moving on, I would like to thank you all for your kind attendance and participation in this morning session. And now we have a break for 15 minutes. During this break, we have a flute rendition by one of our members from Prayas Theosophical Lodge, Brother Biswajit Mahapatra. So I would like to request Brother Shikhar to share his screen and kindly play the video. Thank you all.
Just I'm sharing.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yes. Stop the video.
11:20, no, sir? 11:20, the session.
It is almost 11:20.
It's, yeah.
Welcome back. Now I welcome our next speaker, very respected Brother Dakshinamoorsty. Yes, as the moderator, because of her work, urgent work, she is not available, so I am filling the gap. Brother Dakshinamoorsty, very senior member of Theosophical Society and a very well-known figure in Karnataka, Bangalore, all over India also. Brother Dakshinamoorsty joined Theosophical Society in the year 1980. He is a member of Bangalore City Lodge. Before joining Theosophical Society, he was in judicial legal profession. He was a district judge from Karnataka Judicial Service, and he retired from the government service in 2013. He was Secretary to Government, Department of Parliamentary Affairs and Legislation. Very legal profession, and he has been always helping the Indian section on judicial legal matters. He is now Vice President of Karnataka Theosophical Federation, as well as Vice President of Bangalore City Lodge. He is a National Lecturer of Indian Section Theosophical Society. Also, Director of Studies, School of Theosophy and Meditation, Bangalore City Lodge. He has been visiting different parts of India. He visited Bhubaneswar, conducted study classes, writes articles. Also, he traveled to long distance like Bhavali and conducted study class there also. Now, with this short introduction, I welcome Sir Dakshinamoorsty sir. Kindly present your subject.
Thank you very much, Brother Mahapatra, for the neat introduction. Greetings to all my brethren, ladies and gentlemen, partaking this event of the 98th Easter Conference here in India. We are on the path from the known to the unknown. In the scheme of this program, I am supposed to render my perception of the theme. Look for the light, follow the light, what the light, accepted from the treatise, the light on the path. Brethren, the captioned theme is not to be found verbatim in the rules of the text, but it is ingrained as a necessary component of the path. I therefore need to make a little exploration in order to bring home the context from the span of the treatise. Brother Krishnamooorty has already given an introduction from the perspective of his talk to the treatise, the light on the path. I may repeat a few words from my perspective on the topic that is allotted to me. The light on the path at the feet of the master and the voice of the silence all together share a mystical importation that a little hard of approach, having been drawn from the ancient book of golden precepts, traceable to a palm leaf manuscript reckoned so old that even before the time of Christ, the people had already forgotten its date and the name of the writer. They form the three addresses delivered by the greater teacher, Master Dwalkow, found written in an archaic form of Sanskrit, which Master Dhyalkol translated from archaic Sanskrit into Greek and given to us by Alkyone, reporting for us the sermons of Arya Sangha, that is Master Dhyalkol. Master Hilarion, a pupil of the Venetian master, in one of the previous incarnations, translated it from Greek into English for the use of his Alexandrian pupils. We are also told he authored a part of it and thereafter passed it through 3 phases of revelation, translated the aphorisms and added into them certain explanations which are so well done as to take along with the original. The light on the path happens to be the first of the 3, and its origin is said to have been lost in the mists of prehistoric antiquity. It was but a small book. It is so even now, but the first form in which we could see it is said to be even smaller. Then there is the account of the masters having put forward the ideals in abstract that men of the world are not usually prepared to accept for 2 reasons. Firstly, its precepts have several layers of meaning. Its precepts have several layers of meaning, which could be taken over and over again as directions at the different stages that we are to follow. Secondly, as Brother C.W. Ledbetter has said, like any honest effort to live it will at once throw the light upon it. Yea, any honest effort to live it will at once throw light upon it, and that it is only in that way can this priceless pearl be appreciated. Gentlemen, the masters are dealing with the subject. The masters dealing with the subject have thought it fit to presage that for those that do not practice, thinking of them as unpracticable or useless, they will ever remain sealed books. And for all disciples who seek to turn towards the life of the occult, the rules are given with deterrent forewarnings. Brethren, I have chosen to make overt mention of these mutations for a purpose, that incorporations and forewarnings and the mutations together, in order to underline the perspective of slip-ups and fallacies visiting my understanding of the topic, so they are corrected or forgiven. The approach, as I told you, is a little difficult because we are on the advanced stage of the path beyond the stage of the arhat. The light on the path begins with this address. These rules are written for all disciples, evidently reinforcing the words of Swami Subbarao that the precepts have several layers of meaning in them, and so could be taken over and over again as directions at different stages of growth. Instructions to those who knock at the door begin with at the feet of the master in acquiring the qualities of the will, wisdom, and love, the 3 aspects of the logos, and show them in the commonplace world. The path thenceforth follows, as in the voice of the silence, that takes a disciple through the 2 paths, the 3 great perfections, and the 6 virtues. That transform the virtues that transform his body into the tree of knowledge that marks the birth of a new arhat, Then the masters insist on these as essential qualifications. for those having attained the stage of an arhat and yearning beyond to be able to perceive the light later to be followed till the end of the way sought out, they ordain, attend you to them. Before the eyes can see, they must be incapable of tears. Before the ear can hear, it must have lost its sensitiveness. Before the voice can speak in the presence of the masters, it must have lost the power to wound. Before the soul can stand in the presence of the master, its feet must be washed in the blood of the heart, thus laying the essential qualifications for treading the higher life. That is as contemplated in the light on the path. So in this backdrop, let me begin my talk at elucidating the topic. Looking for the light, it is indicated that rather at the end of the path, attaining to the state of an arhat, that is, the seeker would witness a mellow light that floods the eastern sky, that is the sight of the light on the path, that can transform the arhat into a man of Myalba, into a man of Myalba, that means to be a man of the earth, that will lead men to attain to nirvana through to the end of the life cycle. Rules 80 and 81 of the voice of the silence convey that the masters assure the seekers that the light from the one master, the one unfading golden light of the spirit, shoots as effulgent beams, its effulgent beams on the seeker from the very first of the path, very beginning of the path. The seekers are informed also, now here, now there, these rays illumine it like sunspots, light the earth through the thick and thin foliage of the jungle grove. But the disciple is warned that unless the flesh is passive, the head cool, the soul as firm and pure as flaming diamond, the radiance will not reach the chamber. Chamber here means chamber of the heart, that is in Sanskrit called Brahmaputra. Let me now take you back to the context of the precepts 17, 18, and 19 in the first part of this treatise, the light on the path. Seek out the way. Seek the way by retreating within. Seek the way by advancing boldly without. A inner and outer purity is what is called for, and we can see the correspondence between this rule and rule 17 of the second series. The final secret of the path that is set in rule 17, it opens the mystery of the new way. It opens the mystery of the new way, that is the path which leads to the seeker out of all human perception or imagination. This is the goal, or this is the standard to which a disciple who has crossed over the stage of the arhat has got to move on towards perfection. Well, at the end of the path, pointing again to rule 17, it is indicated the light the disciple is looking for is seen now. Seen now. That is the moment he has attained to arhatship and he is prepared to go beyond into infinity. So there is but a condition. What's that? The seeker shall tread the path for its own sake. It should not be without, not be for any other purpose. It should be without desire for comforts of the worldly life. That is the condition the master said. When the seeker has reached the end of the path by plunging into the mysterious and glorious depths of his own inmost being, then a dim star begins to burn within. These are all signs of the progress in the path of the person, the disciple who is on the path to perfection. So it is said, a dim star begins to burn within, and when steadily watched and worshipped, this light would grow stronger and becomes the infinite light. So then the next step, follow the light. When the seeker has treaded the path to the state of the arhat, his soul will now show the light. It is his soul that shows the light once the seeker has treaded the path. Master Hilarian's explanation to Rule 14 of the second part commands further. The rule says, having obtained the use of the inner senses, having conquered the desires of the outer senses, having conquered the desires of the individual soul, and having obtained the knowledge, he said to the disciple, prepare now, O disciple, to enter the way in reality, So the path is found and the master desires, make yourself ready to tread it. Then the note thereunder elaborates. It is impossible to help others till you have obtained some certainty of your own. Till you have obtained some certainty on one's own, it will be impossible for anyone to help others. When you have learned the first 21 rules, the master says, and have entered the hall of learning, with your powers developed and sense unchained, then you will find there is a fount within you. Continuously blowing up, from which the speech will arise. After the 13th rule, the master says, I can add no words to what is already written. So that is the tip of the instruction, that it should be not the note, under the elaboration of the note, that when one has learned the 21 rules and have entered the hall of learning, then with powers developed and senses unchained, he is bound to reach his destination, and not until the conditions of the rule are satisfied. That is the implication here. So after the 30th, the master says, I can add no words to what is already written. After the 13th rule, there is nothing to say, the master says. These notes are written only for those to whom I give my peace, those who can read what I have written with the inner as well as the outer sense. Every stage, the master prescribes the standard of purity that one has to be, a disciple has to be, to succeed or move forward in the path that is. And the further qualifications are all laid down. What is it? It is to inquire of the earth, the air and the water, of the secrets they hold you. So he must have the knowledge, he must have the experience, he must have the direct knowledge of the earth, the air and the water, and the secrets that they hold, worldly things. Precisely in order that the inner senses are sharpened for the struggles that ensue on the path. And beyond the arhat, inquire the holiness, rather, inquire the holy ones of the earth of the secrets they hold for you. After inquiring the secrets of the earth, the air, and the water, then in order that the inner senses are sharpened, the master advises to inquire the holy ones of the earth of the secrets they hold for you, for by conquering the desires of the other senses will give you the right to do this. So it is at that stage when the inner and the outer senses are purified to the utmost, then the seeker will get the right to get the right to be on the path and to attain. And then again, the further qualification, inquire the inmost. Inquire the inmost, that is the one of its final secret, the one of its final secret. So that is the last inquiry in the path of a man beyond the Arhat stage of the Arhat. So inquiring into the secrets of the earth, inquiring into the inner senses, order of inner senses, and inquiring into the holy ones of the earth. And lastly, the seeker must inquire the inmost, that is one of its final secret, which it holds for you through the ages. So these information, these background, these inquiries necessary in the path of the progress for a disciple, they are rather mandated, because they have to take the seeker through the ages till the end of the attainment. And again, the rules for treading the path, the rules for treading the path beyond the stage of the Arhat then follow, like conquering of the desires of the individual soul is a work of the ages. It is not in 1 or 2 days or years or decades that one gets that entitlement. So it is the desires of the individual soul is a work of the ages. Therefore, the master's command, expect not to obtain its reward. Expect not to obtain its reward until ages of experience have accumulated. That is the level of perfection, the level of the knowledge of utmost certainty that is required of a path, of a seeker to beyond the stage of the Arhat. And when the time of learning this rule, that is referring to rule 17 again, when the time of learning this rule is reached, man is on the threshold of becoming more than man. These are the mystic words are put in here like. So it should be, after all this attainment, the seeker will be at the threshold of learning beyond the knowledge of or the consciousness of the Arhat. The knowledge which is now yours, the masters say, the knowledge which is now yours is only yours because your soul has become one with all pure souls and the inmost. So it is not the development of the one. The seeker, until the person who attains the state of consciousness beyond the known, he must take everybody else in his realm and take them with him. So he should become one with all pure souls and with the inmost. It is a trust vested in the seeker by the Most High. It is the trust vested in the seeker by the Most High, with the stern warning against the consecrated powers being abused. There are, even after seeking, even after attaining to such a paramount stage, it is likely that the seeker may fall again. How is it? He master says, betray it. If you are betraying it, misusing your knowledge, or neglect it, what will happen? And it is possible even now, if they are not strictly followed in the strictest sense with the purest of knowledge, it is possible, the masters say, even now for you to fall from the high estate you have attained. So, what a stern warning here is comes. That is, in order to be a perfect man, one has not only to know the worldly thing, the things that are enshrined within the worldly thing, the spirit of the earth, the spirit of the other things and all, and knowing, after knowing himself and knowing the others also to be a part of him, that the master points out. And to one eventuality, he points out to one eventuality, rather an attendant possibility, I can say. Great ones fall back. The great ones who have attained to that stage too, they can fall back even from the threshold, even at the very entrance they may fall. They may be unable to sustain the weight of the responsibility and unable to pass on beyond the threshold. Therefore, the word of warning comes. Look forward, always with awe. Look forward, always with awe and trembling to this moment, and be prepared for the battle. It is not an easy path. It is not a path that can be lightly taken. It is not a path that can be worldly attained, not a path that can be generally understood and reached. And affirming further that, he says, if you are unable to perceive it within you, if you are unable to perceive it within you, it is useless to look for it elsewhere. That is, that knowledge, that competence, that boldness, and every quality must be within you. You must have perceived that, and you cannot get it from elsewhere, the master one. And once perceived, the struggle is not over, the masters prevail. Once perceived, it would be beyond the seeker. It would be once achieved, whose achievement it is. And what would happen to that knowledge and that consciousness that it is? The masters very mystically said, it is attainable because forever it recedes. It is attainable because forever it recedes. It will continue to be there even after one reaches that stage. And so he further says, if you are unable to perceive it within you, it is useless to look for it elsewhere. And once perceived, it would be beyond the seeker. What is the sense of this? Beyond the seeker. When you reach it, you have lost yourself, indicating to the merger of the soul in that one light. What a mystical revelation, what a mystery that we are founding in on the path of a disciple to perfection. Now, putting emphasis on the end result, the masters also informs it is attainable because forever it recedes. I have said. So that is a thing that continues, the state that is always there forever. Only you will enter the light, but you will never touch the flame. What happens when one reaches to that perfection? He will himself be a part and parcel, a speck of that perfection, and one will be lost altogether. So that should indicate the merger of the soul in the one light. So putting emphasis on the north, he said, it is attainable. You will enter the light, but you will never touch the flame. It is written that for him who is on the threshold of divinity, no law can be framed, no guide can exist because he is liberated. Yet, to enlighten the disciple of the final struggle, it is expressed, hold fast to that which has neither substance nor existence. Hold fast to that which has neither substance nor existence. What does it it refers to? It refers to the state of the divine, to the state of the divine. And then listen only to the voice which is soundless. Again, a contemporary reference to the state of when a person, when a disciple on the path, the seeker on the path has heard the voice of silence. Here too, the master say, listen only to the voice which is soundless and look only on that which is invisible. Look only on that which is invisible, alike to the inner and the outer sense. These lines suffice to amplify the meaning corresponding to rule 17 of the first series. So, my brothers, we have, I think I have gathered much of this information that should ensure us to attain the path to perfection and the guidance of the masters. And there are 4 warnings all through. And without the conditions being filled up, without the qualifications being satisfied under the guidance and the instructions of the masters, and also the guidance or the light that shines from one's own soul, it will be difficult to attain to the light. We must first seek for the light, then follow the light under the instructions of the masters. And what we will find ultimately, when we succeed in this, we will see that I am the light. The light is within me. I am the light. You are the light. Thou art the light. So this is what I can give to you about the theme of this topic. Look for, that is searching for light, following the direction of the light, and then getting merged with one's own competence, with one's own ability, with one's own wisdom and one's own decision that has to be to attain. So let me complete this. Let me end my talk with this, ladies and gentlemen. I think it was really an opportunity for me to get into the serious things of the path to progress and the path to perfection. I thank especially the chairperson and the Brother Mahapatra, the additional secretary, for giving me this opportunity to at least go into the subject with a keen interest, which I would not have otherwise done. Thank you all.
Please unmute, sir. Please unmute yourself.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. It is really, we are all enlightened by your very wordings you have expressed from the light and the path, combining both first part and second part from rule 17 to rule 21. Really, we are all searching the light within us. And by following the light, we become the light. So the theme from known to unknown, and thereby Brother Dakshinamoorsty established that light is nowhere, light is within you, and you are the light. We have still 4 or 5 minutes before I invite Brother N. Bhaskaran. I just going to narrate a story that an old lady, she is searching a shoe, a pin in front of his house. that is in the light, outside the light. Then a sage is moving, and he marked that old lady is searching a object. Then he inquired, Mother, what you are searching? Now I am searching a sui, means needle. Then where you lost it? I lost. Then he remember. Then she recollect that she somewhere lost inside his house, inside her house. So the light or the needle or sui, it is within us, but we are always searching outside us. So the topic given to Brother Dakshinamurti, that look for the light, not outside. That is a light within you. Follow it and you become the light. Thank you, sir, for your nice presentation. Now our speaker is a very veteran speaker. As it was told to me, Brother Bhaskaran NAIR, though new in an All India platform, but as I requested the Kerala Federation Secretary to recommend some new person to speak in the Easter Conference. So a short introduction to Brother N. Bhaskaran NAIR. He retired as a Deputy Registrar, University of Kerala. He is a member of Theosophical Society in the year 1998. After joining Theosophical Society, he wrote books like Way of Cosmic Self, then Living with Ecological Rhythm, and Key to Hidden Meaning of Life. As very humble in his approach, he probably did not mention much what he wrote, might have written many more. So I invite Brother Bhaskaran NAIR to speak very important subject to us from the light and path. Rungs of the spiritual ladder. We are on the spiritual ladder. As per our evolution, we are in the below or in the high, depending upon the stage of our evolution. So the subject is his subject: devotion, contemplation, and self-sacrifice. That is rungs of the spiritual ladder. Welcome you, sir. Kindly present your subject.
Thank you, sir, for inviting me. I hope I am audible. Am I?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. Yes. The subject allotted to me is devotion, contemplation, self-sacrifice, the spiritual rungs of the ladder, the rungs of the spiritual ladder. This is corresponding to the rule 20 of the light and the paths. I shall read the original sentence. Rule 20 of the light and the path says, seek it not by any one road. To each temperament, there is one road which seems the most desirable. The way is not found by devotion alone, by religious contemplation alone, by ardent progress, by self-sacrificing labor, by studious observation of life. None alone can take the disciple more than one step onwards. All steps are necessary to make up the ladder. I have to explain it in detail. There are many spiritual ladders possible for human beings. Evolution of consciousness takes naturally from elementals to mineral kingdom, from mineral kingdom to plant kingdom and then to animal kingdom. And when it reaches human kingdom, there is a possibility of speeding up the spiritual evolution. Even otherwise, the spiritual evolution will take up, but it will take millions of years. So, what are the methods to speed up the evolution of consciousness? Step by step. The first method is the disciple-master relation. That is the occult principle of theosophy. The people, the student should believe in the master, the Mahatma, Udumi, Moria, and such masters are guiding us. For that, there are many steps in Buddhism, parallel to Buddhism: Anagata, Parivraja, Kudijan, Hamsan, Paramahamsan, that is Arhat stage, and then reaches the master, the Mahatma, who guide us. For that, we have first to purify our physical body, including either double, Annamaya Kosha in Sanskrit. Then the second astral body with its sensations. Thirdly, the lower mind, its feeling and thoughts. Then the people have entered the stream. Then the master will automatically help us. The Atma Buddhi Manas, will wisdom activity, this triple spiritual spark flowing in the mortal body, I have mentioned, is always suppressed or deviated because of the fear of consciousness. Will, wisdom, and activity. Will, when enters the neurosystem of our brain, is converted to desire. Wisdom, when it enters our brain, is converted as intellect for material purpose. So also activity or love, when it enters our mortal brain, it is converted as lust. Thus, desire, lust, and the intellect are throughout making atrocities in our life. Our personality, which is called personality. Personality, the word personality itself is a mask. Persona in Greek means a mask. It is not original. It is, all these are caused by the hindrance of the brain making a lower mind with a lower ego. So we are carrying a life of conflict and suffering throughout our life. To escape it, we have to enter the higher mind, for which our masters are always guiding. The masters themselves are guiding us even further. There, the masters stand for the Atma Buddhi Manas, Manas standing for the stage of mind in the higher triad. And even Further, there is wisdom level. There are the Buddha, Christ, the Chohan, and so on. And above that, the Atma, standing for Mahachogan, Sanaskumaran. And even after that, spiritual level, there is Manu. So there are 9 initiations possible for human beings. So such a path is sure and should be devoted to the masters. This is the first method in the evolution of consciousness, or ascending the ladder, spiritual ladder. Then there are some people, even in theosophy, who cannot follow a master. Then they take the path of jnana marga. That is, they accept the personality and individuality. The individuality is the higher mind, Atma Buddhi Manas. They gradually understand the false nature of personality and the calamity that creates in our life. That is jealousy, hatred, fear, and so on and so on. To escape from such a conflict and suffering, they accept the individuality, the higher mind, and try to live a life of individuality. The individual life is eternal, that is immortal, and there we find a life of liberation, moksha. Then still another method, third method I can say, is the method of karmic purification. So we are taking life after life reincarnation for purification of the karma. We are doing a lot of karmic consequence in the mortal body. Mortal body doing karma. Karma means two, combination of two elements in Sanskrit, kra plus ma, action by the mind, lower mind. Then how it can be purified? After death, the mortal body, Atma Buddhi Manas enters the Devajanic plane, where the goddess Lipika evaluate his action in the worldly nature, and decide whether the individual has to take rebirth again. And birth after birth, incarnation after incarnation, the karma is purified. Karma, when purified, it equals the flow of dharma in the world. When we are in the world of dharma, the individual can do karma, even then the karma will not have any consequence. All the actions of karma will be in the line of dharma. And still another method is there, which is called the method of contemplation. The contemplation, the devotion, and self-sacrifice as we have mentioned in the beginning, are method, but they are imperfect. We have to understand their limitations because most of them are belonging to religious contemplation, religious devotion or bhakti, and religious self-sacrifice. They have their own rituals, ceremonies, and many superstitions with them. So none of them are as it is perfect. So we are searching for other fields by which we can attain liberation. In the contemplation field, pranayama we can attain through pranayama also. Pranayama means the will wisdom activity of which will is the organizing force. Wisdom is the self-referring force. And activity or love is the unifying force. Together, they sustain our life. Of this, the first unifying force will is when entering our body, repairs and regenerate our human body. That energy we have to keep. That energy is degenerated by thought which is rooted in the past, in desire, conflict, and so on. When the thought is completely arrested, the organizing force flow through our body. That is pranayama. Our breathing with our inhalation and exhalation, assimilation of oxygen are all only for producing energy. That is not prana. Prana is entirely different. Prana is coming from divine force. That act in the body only when the thoughts are arrested. Otherwise, the prana consumed by the thought. Thought is consuming our body. In such a way also we can evolve to higher and higher levels and can see the flame. And you can enter the flame and not into the fire, it is said. That is the real interpretation of that thou art. It's a very, very, very intricate word that we have to watch it very closely. That thou art. But you are not that. In Gita it is said, Maya tadamidam sarvam jagadavyakta murtina malsani sarvapudani na chaham teshu avastita. That is, my consciousness, Krishna says, Krishna's consciousness says, that is the consciousness of Paramatma says, my consciousness contained in all living beings, in all jadas. But none of the consciousness of these living beings are in me. It is a one-way traffic. That is, I can be everywhere, but none of them can reach in my level. But they can evolve, their consciousness can evolve and find the flame and not the fire. That can never be divine. That is the real interpretation of Tattvamasi. That thou art. If it is stated reverse, the meaning will be wrong. You are not that. You are that. If the statement is such, it is a wrong statement. Then we have now stated 3-4 methods, and then we can come to the modern parlance with the modern paradigms, the liberation, enlightenment. What is enlightenment? How it is reached? Enlightenment is attained by finding truth. Then, what is truth? That is also an intricate question. Then, there are truths in a situation, a particular situation. That is only an actuality. That is, truths is only in the spiritual plane. The actuality is happening in a particular situation. Then there is a reality. Reality is nothing but the Maya of this world. So truth, what is truth? The Roman emperor asked Pilate asked Christ before he was condemned to crucifixion, why are you leading people around you? Christ said, I stand for truth. Then the Pilate asked, what is truth? But he did not wait for the answer. He knows if he waited for the answer, Christ cannot be condemned to crucifixion. So the definition of truth has been lost forever. The definition that has to be attained from Christ is lost forever. It is very unfortunate. Even then, we can find what is truth. Truth, for example, one example, the gravitation force is a truth. Then, evolution and involution is a truth. Evolution of consciousness is a truth. Evolution of living being from minerals to man is a truth. Then the Taoist principle, the 81 verses by Lao Tzu in the Tao Te Ching, all of them are saying truth. For example, when we are at the last, we are bound to come to the first. When a sword is sharpened, it becomes blunt. Whenever we are in failure, we are successful. These are natural laws, and as such are truths. So, when we finding the truths, the false drops away. That is the method of enlightenment. Throughout life, we are suffering. Sorry, I am taking only hotspot, and the Wi-Fi is not working here. So, our life is always in conflict, suffering, caused by fear of security, is a truth. The truth we have to accept, and the individuality, Atmabuddhi Manas, will help us. That is also truth. So, it is a method by which we can attain perfection. Then there is know that we are living in a world of Maya, a world of space and time. But it is not real. But in an unreal world we are living, the theme of our subject is from known to the unknown. The unknown has factors. One is that that are yet to be retrieved by the scientists, scientific facts. Many of them are now revealed, but still they are to be found out. Heisenberg, in his book, A Brief History of Time, shows many of such facts. In olden times, in Upanishads, Shodhagata was asked by Uttalaga, have we studied everything? Then the boy asserted that I have studied everything. Then Uttalaga asked him to bring a seed of banyan tree and opened it and you see what is inside it. And the boy cannot answer and he asserts that it is Brahman. So that is a scientific. Scientist has to answer for such things. Are revealing such things nowadays. So now Higgs boson, quantum mechanics, Big Bang, string theory, and it is their duty to reveal such things. So from known to unknown. The unknown has two factors. That is, one that has to be revealed by the scientist, and secondly, there is one thing, the higher self. What is the higher self? That we have to understand. That is still an enigma, a problem. The psychologists are bent up in clinical psychology or in parapsychology. Both are they are utilizing for money, but never they bother about the higher self. The higher selves can be attained. Higher self can be attained by the modern method. That is, instead of contemplation, there is some other techniques. Awareness. Aware of the mechanism of our mind. By understanding the mechanism of the mind, we can evolve. So there is scope that we can evolve to a level and we can reach a life without suffering. Then how is it possible? It is possible through escaping from our illusions. We are living in a world of illusion. Illusion is cultivated in the childhood by the ignorant parents, and they are again the illusion are added to them by school in society. They are also adding further illusion, the superstition, ceremony, rituals, and so on and so on. So such beings has to be eliminated, escaped. Escaping from the illusion itself, we evolve to the spiritual ladder from suffering. And where we can reach, is a field of dhyana. Dhyana means D plus yana. D means the consciousness, yana means the flow. Our body may be allowed to flow the dhyana, D plus yana. Dhyayade idi dhyana. That is a total action, the actionless action. That is easy and are possible in the world. Our world is only impermanent. We know only a present world. The future as well as past are ignorant to us. It is said, Avyakadini Pudani, Vyaktamathyani Farida, Avyakta Nidanunyava, Tatraga Paridevana. Such a problem is now solved by the quantum physics, especially Heisenberg, Neil Bohr, and said that whatever is in space and time, they are uncertain. Sorry, whatever is in space and time, whatever is in space and time are there are only certainty. But when there is no space and time, there is only uncertainty. Because in space and time, we search everything horizontally, adding 1 plus 1 plus and so on. Scholarship is an example. We are adding oneself. Another scholarship and going on and reach nowhere. Our brain is loaded. We are avoiding the scope of any spiritual evolution. So the spiritual plane is vertical. The higher plane is something different. That is possible by insight. It is a vertical jump. In awareness, we are jumping upward. By scholarship, we can reach nowhere. We have to escape from all kinds of such a scholarship. We have to be helpless. We have to remain quiet. In such a meditation, only we can find a higher level of consciousness. And an insight is always possible, and such is the best way of liberation, what we call enlightenment. So I conclude. I hope that you might have grasped at least some of my ideas. So these are 7 methods by which we can arrive to higher levels. Thank you all.
Thank you, Brother Bhaskaran. Very nice presentation on the specific topic given to you: devotion, contemplation, and self-sacrifice. As we are all in the rungs of the spiritual ladder, we have to move forward, as he very lucidly pointed out to us how to move forward to reach that particular stage by way of devotion, by way of contemplation, and self-sacrifice. Thank you, Brother Bhaskaran. With these words, we are going to close this first session, morning session, with the announcement that we will have next session at 4 p.m. And I request you kindly attend that last session at 4 p.m. It will be last speech of this Easter conference will be delivered by Sister Dr. R. Revati on Be the Path to Approach Life and Truth. So from known, we will reach to unknown stage, that is the truth. There is some announcement by Brother Taral Munsi. He is waiting us now. Brother Taral Munsi kindly made some announcement, but you are.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Will I be able to share the screen, sir?
Oh, yes, can.
Yeah.